All right, let's get to the bottom of this once and for all. If you're an apartment locator and you're not earning at least $10,000 or more every single month, like on autopilot, working part-time, so never more than 30 hours a week, you're probably just doing one thing wrong, right? And if you're at least earning 10,000 or more, which if you're an apartment locator, you know that's a conservative number, then you probably already know the secret that I'm about to reveal. But if you're not producing $10,000 more every single month, the reason you're not is because
you're breaking my heart, but I know I can't leave. I can't leave. You've been laying with somebody that
you're focusing all of your time escorting clients, right? So I know that's super not traditional, and it's probably not the way you were trained, because as apartment locators, myself included, we're all trained to escort clients, over to properties, because our closing ratio increases, right? Over sending lists and sending people over the phone. But that's actually not the case at all, right? So I've been doing apartment locating for over 5 years, and it took me years to figure this out, right? So I just want to kind of discuss what's going on in the industry and then tell you actually how to make a lot of money part-time. So that way you can close more clients per day in a much more comfortable environment because you're not driving around. Why are companies and why are our sponsoring brokers, when we start off, why are they actually teaching us that we need to escort in order to receive commission in the best way, right? When the reality is actually the reversal. So the reason this is happening, it makes sense, right? It's because whenever you escort, as apartment locators or as real estate agents, we can all agree that when you have in-person appointments and then you take them out and now you've got that super personal connection with them and you're driving them over to a property, they're probably not going to agree to go out on property with you unless they're actually interested, right? So the logic is there, right? I understand why it would make sense to escort, because when you do this as an apartment locator, as a real estate agent, even if it's like a rental house, you don't have to locate apartments, you do close better. Your closing ratio is probably 50%. And if you're an apartment locator, you know that's a realistic ratio. It's probably 50% chance. If you go drive someone out to a property, 50% chance you're going to probably close them, right? Whenever you work remotely, you might talk to someone over the phone, get all their information, send them over a property report with relevant options and have them go out by themselves, right? Your closing ratio drops. It's true, right? I'm not going to pretend that you can close better, right? No, your closing ratio does drop from 50% to probably about 30%, even maybe 20% in some cases, right? That's where this logic and this belief is coming from, that you really need to be escorting clients to make money, but it's just not the case, right? So we're going to talk about very, very basic math, and we're going to talk about the benefits and of why you need to be working remote and you need to send people over to properties and not ever escort ever. All right, apartment locator, so think about it. When you get an ad call, is what we like to call it, right? Ad calls. When you get an ad call, somebody interested in leasing an apartment, what do you do over the phone? You probably explain to them your service, you tell them your name, you go over, your guest card or your questions, the pre-qualification questions, right? It's like the same thing every time, right? But then what are we normally trained to do, right? We're normally trained to try to book an appointment and have these people come to our office, set time, we can have an in-office appointment with them. So guys, when you do this, even though you can make money this way, when you do this, you totally block off that appointment time, and you're probably setting aside 1 or 2 hours. You are, right? You're setting your appointments 1 or 2 hours apart. And so when you do that, let's say, we get a call, first thing in the morning, we set that appointment to 12 or noon or something, right? So that from noon to like 1 p.m. or to 2 p.m., you're probably going to be busy, right? So what happens when the next person calls you, right? The next person calls you, they're ready to go, they need help, right? And what are you going to do next naturally, right? What are we trained to do? Now you're going to try to schedule another appointment, probably at 2 p.m., right? And so the problem with that is if you're not helping people immediately right there, they're still going to be searching for an apartment, right? So let's say you in that 2 client, booking an appointment example, what happens, right? You get your first client, hey, can you do 12 noon? Yeah, I can do noon. Boom, you're booked for noon. Now you get the second call. Oh, okay, let's go through the qualifying criteria, blah, 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 blah. And then you're like, can you come in at 2 p.m.? And they're like, yeah, I guess, right? Because they want to be helped immediately. So then let's say you get them to agree to, to set an appointment for 2 p.m. Now you're giving that second client hours to go continue looking around without your assistance. Maybe they might even accidentally call another brokerage in that time. And so it's not really optimal. Even though we're trained to do this way, it's not optimal because chances are they're gonna miss the appointment because they need apartment locating. The whole process and the whole life cycle of from the start of a phone call to closing the client, it's just so quick turnaround. It's not like normal real estate. We're not selling houses. Everything is so fast. So the problem with scheduling appointments is that you're not immediately able to help those clients. And now you're delaying, the additional clients that you're setting appointments for. And imagine if you set appointments for tomorrow or the next day. Now you're giving them days to go look around and you're just hoping that they're going to come, to an appointment with you. So it's not efficient. And I know that, like I said before, you can make money this way, but if you focus on working remote, and only working on the phone and sending lists over and having them go tour by themselves, you can actually work a tremendous amount of more clients in the same work period. And so guys, this is the difference between apartment locators that are competent, that are earning, $3,000 to $6,000 a month instead of $10,000 at least every single month forever. That's the main thing. Because chances are, your market, you're a good locator. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be the best apartment locator in the world to earn at least $10,000 or more every month. But what you do need to do is work smart. And so let's go over a very easy mathematical example of why this is true, right? Because we can agree that if you go escort a client and you go do an appointment, you've got like a 50% chance of closing, right? We know that as agents, right? And we know that if you go through the process over the phone and send them over, you probably have a 30% chance of closing that client. And in some cases, you can increase that 30% send closing ratio to even up to 50% if you're utilizing correct tonality. And that's what we teach in our real estate duck hunter course. So tonality really is a big thing. But anyways, let's just agree to 30%, maybe 20% when you send people over, and then 50% closing ratio if you go and drive and escort someone, right? So we need to think about the time, right? Let's talk about how long everything takes, right? So you have an appointment. You're probably going to go over showing them the selections of the apartments in their area on your database. Then what are you going to do? You're probably going to make some calls with them and then take notes of all of the details, right? So this takes a while, right, guys? You're probably looking at least an hour appointment by the time you do this with your clients in office. And then after that, you still have to pack everything up, go drive over to the property with them. And by the way, that's dangerous. I really don't like driving. I don't drive ever, really ever, because it's just not safe. I don't like driving in general. But anyway, so, let alone that you're risking your life whenever you go drive around. And by the way, a lot of accidents happen when you're following someone or when someone's following you. Just saying. So guys, you're going over to that property, right? Now you got to introduce your client to the leasing office, right? Now you got to go on tour of the apartment, right? And then you're probably going to do that two additional more times because you probably have 3 properties lined up for you guys to tour together, right? And so guys, this is so time consuming. It's absurd, right? So this whole ordeal is like 2-3 hours of your time, probably closer to 3 hours, right? So 2-3 hours of your time for one client, right? So when you do this with one client, you have one chance to close and it's 50%, right? And so how I like to teach apartment locators how to go about their business and how to close better and make more money is by working remote, right guys? You can go over the pre-qualifying criteria, explain to your client exactly how the service works, send them over a list where you're not actually calling the properties for them with them and taking notes, right? It's a lot better for your client because now they don't have to go drive over to wherever your office is, right, and waste their own gas and time. But the point is, you can go through the whole entire natural process, send over the list, explain to them that they need to write your name on the application, all within 10 minutes or less. And so the beautiful thing about this, right, is because we're paying attention to basic math. Remember, apartment locators? So you can, within the 2 hours, let's just round down and say 2 hours for escorting someone, right? Even though it's more like 3, sometimes 4 hours. But let's say 2 hours, right? In the 2 hours that you would have normally done an appointment and went and escorted a couple properties with one client, what's 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes per client if you're sending them. How many clients can you do in 2 hours, right? 2 hours is 120 minutes. So that's 120 minutes divided by 10. Guys, that's 12 clients, right? So you can service 12 clients now instead of the one client that you're escorting and doing a freaking office appointment for. You can help 12 clients. And that's actually doing the right thing for your clients, because now you're able to help more people. Because remember, as apartment locators, our service is free. So, which is cool. We're actually helping people go about leasing an apartment in an efficient way. It's such a cool job, right? But anyways, guys, so 12 clients, right? And if we know here, if you're in Austin or you're in Texas, Dallas, Houston, you know the average commission is like $1,000, right? So let's go ahead and let's just pull up this calculator. All right, guys, so very, very basic calculator, right? It's not rocket science. So if we're in the 2 hour period, if you're working 12 clients, right, but you're sending them, right, but the whole process takes 10 minutes, so that's why you can help 12 clients. If your closing ratio is about 20, really it's 30%, but even if it was 20, all right, let's just be extra conservative, right? So if your closing ratio was 25%, right, times 0.25, right, you're closing 3 clients because you've talked to 12, right? So that's $3,000 in 2 hours that you're doing, right, guys? And if you're escorting that one client, you have one chance now instead of 12 to make $1,000, right? Because you're escorting. You know, the chances but you're at a 50% closing ratio because you can close better when you escort. That's what we were taught, right, by our sponsoring brokers when we first start off. Okay, so then that is 0.5, right? So if you round down, because there's no such thing as closing 0.5 deals, right? So you would round down and it's 0. So you just spent 2 hours doing an office appointment escorting, only not to close them, right? Because you have one chance at a 50% ratio, right? So guys, this is why some apartment locators make $3,000 to $6,000 a month, right? It still does work, but do you want to make $3,000 to $6,000 a month, or do you want to easily part-time make $10,000 or more dollars a month, without even driving around, right? So that's what you guys need to start focusing on, is not escorting actually ever. So in this example where we escorted and we made no money, and we had a 25% closing ratio, so we closed half as good because we're sending people, but we were able to actually work with 12 clients, each with 10-minute conversations, and we're closing at half the rate. But now that's actually still 3 clients that we closed because we talked to 12. So that's $3,000 versus 0. Guys, do this. That's in 2 hours, right? So do this 4 times a month, right? Just do this once a week, okay? Work 2 hours or so once a week, right? Close 3 people. So 3 times 4, that's 12, right? The average commission is about $1,000 here in Austin. Downtown is like $2,000 or more, right? But on average, we would say it's like $1,000. So 12 clients, times $1,000, that's $12,000, guys. And you basically work 12 people. It took you 2 hours. You just did that 4 times in a month. So once a week, what's the total amount of work that would be, right? So 2 hours to talk to 12 people, each 10 minutes each, times 4. So you worked a whopping 8 hours that month. You worked 8 hours that month, and these are realistic numbers. The ratios I just presented make sense if you're an apartment locator. I'm not making this stuff up. And so guys, that's why you can work part-time and earn more than $10,000 forever. You just have to work smart. One of the main secrets in doing this effectively is by focusing on working remote and not escorting actually ever. So I hope you guys like that video. Follow the YouTube channel, by the way. We're called Real Estate Duck Hunters. I do a lot of videos like this just to help apartment locators out. I started with apartment locating as an entrepreneur, and it has opened so many incredible doors for me, right? I've been able to fund other e-commerce businesses with basically no fear of risk, because I know if it all went to 0, all I got to do is just lease some more apartments and then start over. So anyways, guys, apartment locating has been so great, right? You can make tons of money just alone focusing on apartment apartment locating. But the beautiful thing about it is that you can work part-time without a boss in your home and earn 5 digits a month. Where else can you do that for an easy job, right? And it's a sales job, but we're not even selling anyone anything. We're just helping them with their natural transition of renting an apartment. So that's why apartment locating is so like a fantastic opportunity, especially if you're starting off with real estate, especially if you're a young adult, right? You don't really know what to do. Just apartment locate. You're going to make tons of money part-time. It's going to be easy work, and then you can fund whatever other businesses you want, right? With a crutch. Anyways, guys, follow the channel. I appreciate your time, apartment locators, and I hope you guys lease a storm. I'm out.